Right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lit in English, and we are on season 6 of Lit in English. And for this season, we are going on a journey called Understanding Your Inner Self, Lead Up a Path to Happiness as Whole Being. And before we are going on our presentation today on the topic of the triangle of reality. I would like to revisit the previous topic that we went over, and it actually took us three presentations to complete, and that is the human structure. So human structure is one of the three reference systems that we most value in order to have an understanding, a perspective of everything around it, everything around us. And in the human structure, we get a better understanding of the three um, elements in our human structure, and that is the body, mind, spirit, and we get to understand it clearer uh, using the teaching from the Buddha, and we understand that deep within ourselves, we have the will to hear, the will to speak, see, the will to speak, and the will to know, surrounded by the radiant aura. And thanks to that, we can understand it as our spirit. And then after that, we got to learn about our 16 human nature, and those are admission, imagination, action, conscience, prosperity, beauty, fame, eating, resting, greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skepticism, evil, and bias. And we get to learn about our emotion, the layer of emotion, which is also called the 84,000 bubble of illusion in the perspective, in the view of Buddhism. And of course, we also have the four elements of body, earth, water, air, and fire. And some of the most important topic that we cover in the human structure is the idea that we have lived many lives in our past, and over that many lifetime of experience, we cultivate um, our total karmic that that we take along with us to many cycle ahead, and those called the karmic knowledge, karmic affinity, and karmic result. And those we also accumulating a mass of bad karma, good karma, and radiant karma, and all of those elements got entangled together and determine what we are going to experience in this lifetime and the next. And so, understanding this, we get to understand the immaterial side of our worldview, and the human structure, namely the total karmic, will help us understand the importance of human interaction. Why do we need to lean toward positive emotion, and how one person decision can impact and influence the rest of the community. And
Recording in
that
progress.
is
Is the
the human structure, one of the three reference system. So we will definitely return to the human structure later uh, in this journey, and the journey of understanding your inner self open up a path to happiness as whole being. And today, what I would like to introduce to you the last, the third, as well is also the last of the three semantic reference system. And with this three, we will complete the three semantic reference systems that we can use to reference anything that we see in life, anything that we interact with. We can use these three reference systems to have the pretty much the deepest understanding of that topic. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your head that we will revisit these three semantic reference system, and it will help you understand the root, the very source of whichever field or whichever studies that we will interact with in this life. So let's without further ado, let's go ahead and now start. All right, I would like you to if you have pen and paper, there's a time where we do some drawing to establish the foundational information. And just to be clear, I'm gonna go ahead and write the title of today's presentation. This is the triangle of reality. And because this is a triangle, I would like to draw triangle right in the middle as a representation to triangle of reality. So as many of us know, we are living in a three-dimensional dimension. Therefore, when we make an observation of something, we need to look at all three sides, all three positions in order to have a full view of what it exactly is. So similarly, there are three elements of anything in this universe that we need to be aware of, and those three elements determine the material or the information or the energy of that object is given out. So according to Einstein, any object, any element would have information and then there's the energy that is given out, and then the material. Now, what do I mean by that? Have you ever seen those people who do metal detective on the beach? They will use this device to search if there's any metal on the surface of the sand, for example. Maybe some people will drop their rings or some jewelry, and those machines can pick up the signal of that metal, and they can figure out what sort of metal that is, and maybe they can do a search right after. So each of the metal have the element that can give us an idea of what exactly that is. For example, in my collection, I do have a gold coin and a silver. So we can we can see the different expressed in material of the gold coin and the silver coin through the color of it. And of course, it can give out different information. For example, the gold coin here set the towers of London, and then on the silver one we have uh, the Liberty coin. Is also called the Buffalo coin. It's very popular. So there's a lot of information on the coin. There's a lot of uh, different expressed in the material, and of course, it's give out different energy. And then in my collection, I also have a piece of bronze. So this piece of bronze, of course, the color of it is different from the silver and the gold. And most importantly, this is not just any of the bronze token. This is actually a Mayan calendar. So there is a lot more information on this piece here. It's one of my favorite. I actually studied the Mayan calendar uh, back in 2006, the end of the world thing. But there's a lot more to it, to this calendar than just simply a calendar. So I'm loving this piece. And as you can see, there's a lot of different information from an object or from a material. And as you can see, there's different energy given out from that object as well. And scientists has proven that done one experience that was thought to be impossible, and that was transforming lead into gold, even though the amount is very small. And that was very impressive because thousands and thousands of years, people has playing around with alchemy, as in how to turn some different element into gold, because the idea is that if you can turn anything into gold, then you'll be extremely, extremely wealthy. And that is the idea that almost exists since the beginning of time. And finally, scientists was able to make that happen. But the energy that they put into transforming that into gold is too high. It was too costly to make that transformation. So it doesn't make sense to spend a lot more money to produce a smaller amount of gold while you can just go buy it, right? So it is important for me to mention that, because just imagine, right? If we can turn lead into gold, then it is also possible to change ourselves, right? From from a reality that we might not be happy with to a reality that we desire. For example, we can choose to be healthier, right? And that is the exact story of one of my good friends back in college, Jack. He was super overweight when he was 18, and he made up his mind that he's got tired of it. He decided that he has got to change. He want to improve his health. He want to improve how he feel, and most importantly, he really want to have like a girlfriend, pretty much. So he was super dedicated. And looking for him, he had friends who who work as a personal trainer. So they help him out with his meal plan, with his exercise. And only within 1 year, he made a huge transformation from being overweight. And he pretty much got to like a perfect uh, body and fat ratio, look amazing, loving life. So the transformation is possible in many level. And to reference back to the story of transforming change the element of lead into gold, the reason that the scientist was able to to do it was because they understand the information of lead, they understand the energy of lead, and they understand the material of lead. Similarly, they understand the formula of gold, the energy that it will give out, and the material of gold. So by changing the information and the energy, they was able to transform the material, right? To put it in the most simplest way. Similarly, the transformation that we want to make or we can create, we can simply do it by making a transformation of the information and the energy of it. And this is the very, very foundation of the triangle of reality. Let's go ahead and just write the word reality in here. Reality. All right. So beside information, energy, and material, there's another layer of the triangle of reality that we need to understand, especially when it's come to information. For example, if we can recall back to the seven holistic wealth, right? We have wisdom, presence, nobility, virtue, and then capability, physique, and material. Those are the seven holistic wealth. And just to recall, when we divide it into two subgroups, that is the material group and the immaterial group. So the material one, like silver and gold, for example, it's easy for us to understand it as what is the information of gold, what is the energy of gold, what is the material of gold, or what is the information of silver, what is the energy of silver, and what is the material of silver. We can analyze it in that way. But what about wisdom? What if we was to discuss the wisdom? Do we discuss it as the information of wisdom, the energy of wisdom, and the material of wisdom? And I think we could, but it would be clearer if we look at wisdom as what we know about wisdom or knowing. What do we believing about wisdom, and what is our understanding of wisdom? Understanding. That's right, understand about wisdom that can give us the reality of wisdom. And we can also see that knowing, believing, understanding give us a lot of information of wisdom. And with the right energy of wisdom, one can have the material of wisdom. And I know it can be a little bit confusing with the word, but the idea is that with the right information of wisdom, with the right condition, then one can be viewed as a wise person in the eyes of others, and it will express. And this is the reason for the expression that the immaterial of a person can be the material of other. As in, prior of learning, I wasn't aware of any of these knowledge, right? So I didn't have the the ownership, the reality of wisdom. But once I acquire knowledge, when I read a lot of books and learn from the expert in the field, and I started to have an understanding of it. And when I interact with other, they can see me as someone who is very well informed, and being well informed and wise, I was express the material of the reality of wisdom. So these two are these two element of the triangle of reality is what can help us understanding the reality of anything that we want to analyze in life. And there's another triangle of reality that I have introduced in the past. And those are in the corner of information, we have philosophy, and toward the energy, we would have religion, and in the materials angle, we will have the perspective of science. And that triangle of reality of the view of the world can help us understanding the three main view of the world itself, whether the view of philosophy, the view of religion, or the view of science, to help us understand different topics that we might have discussed, and to understand it a little bit clearer how we can apply the triangle of reality to everyday element. I would like to discuss a very interesting triangle that many people might question of. Now, for example, when in life, we often try to figure out a way to be successful in life, but we we are not quite sure of what we needed to do to get to that reality, right? So let's analyze the level of success, and I'm gonna put this in quotation mark. Let's look at the element of success of a person. Success will be 1C or 2C, I think it's 2C, success. All right, I'm going to put this in quotation mark, because later on we will change the word success to something else in the 7 holistic wealth. I want you to think about success and being successful. What does it mean for you? If you were to think about someone who had the success, then how would they look like, right? And at a very young age, I was taught that in order to be successful, you have to go to school, right? You have to get a good grade, and then when you go to college, you should choose field of study like science. You can try to be an engineer or a doctor, or even a lawyer, and then you will make good income, and then you will live a happy life. You know, that is the happy ever after. And then when you get to college, you realize that this might not work because you wasn't even sure what you wanted to study. And then when you look at the life of doctors and lawyers, and you might see that they are very stressed out, right? So for the triangle of reality of success, one element that often uh, get looked at is the profession that we get in. And this is just one of the three main elements that determine a person success, because there are research study done and show that the majority of college graduates, they don't even use their degree. As in, after graduation, after their 4 years, let's say they study in psychology, but then they ended up to to get a job as an IT, right? Someone who work in with someone who work with computer, pretty much totally different. And that was what happened to my cousin. And then there's some other people who work in who studies psychology, even have a master in psychology, but then they ended up working as a data analysis. So the profession can help with a person's success, but it is not the determinant of success. And the expert tell us that in order to be successful, it's also important that we have to have the information about success. Like, what do we know about the success? What are the notions of success? In another word, is what is your mindset about success that can can determine how successful you are. And every time I talk about this, is remind me of a story of a friend that I had back when I was 16. I call her friend, but she was much older. She was like in her 40s, and she was very successful. She was pretty much like a mother of one of my close friends, and she told me something very interesting. She said that in her journey, she picked up a mindset that if other people can do it, then she can do it too. As in, if any other person can be successful, it means that she herself can acquire, can accomplish the same success. And with that mindset, she wasn't afraid of anything. She would travel from my city, a very small city in Vietnam, Da Nang, Vietnam, and she would travel to Saigon and buy like products at wholesale price, ship it to the city, open up shop, and started her resale store. And she was very successful thanks to that just one notion of success. All right. So even though starting out, she doesn't have any profession in that field, but thanks to the notion of success and the willingness to act on it, she was able to uh, be successful as a retail shop owner. What is more interesting is that thanks to the initial success, she was able to build relationship with others, and through the relationship that she had with her circle of friends, she was able to learn about real estate investment, and she started to use the money that she made from her resale shop to invest in real estate. And real estate got really, really hot in Da Nang, Vietnam, and she ended up making even more money. And the element that I want to write up top here to represent for the energy and the believing is the relationship, relationship. And as you know, the expression, it is not about what you know. It is all about who you know, right? So the relationship of a person determine the success level of that person. And in my friend's case, thanks to the relationship that she had with every other business owner, she was able to pick up the information. Yeah, let's go back to the other. She was able to pick up the information of the success level of her friends, the energy and the material, the knowing, the believing, the understanding of her friends, of their relationship. And she was able to make the right investment when it's come to real estate. And she was able to become even more successful in her investment, right? So all three of this element, the notion of success, the relationship that can let one person to success, the profession that let one to success determine how successful the person is. And after many, many research study, the experts tell us that the notion of success determine 40% of what can make a person successful. And when it's come to their relationships, it is also determined 40%, and there's only 20% of their profession that determine how successful a person is. And let me use a story of another close friends of mine. She's also happened to live in Vietnam. And back in 2009, 15 years ago, when I went back to Vietnam for the first time, uh, then I uh, then I went to the US to live, and I got to revisit my best friend, and my best friend was working in a a growing company, and he's doing really, really well. He had his expertise in marketing, and he was doing really good. But he was complaining to me uh, about like how even though he worked in this company for many, many years, even though he found his success, but there's this one new guy that just joined the company recently, not even a year, but he climbed in the corporate ladder very, very quickly. And that guy, he doesn't really have the expertise that my friend does. But what happened is that he was that person. He was a driver of the president of the boss of the company. And every single meeting, if you are Vietnamese, you will understand this. So all of the business decision, all of the biggest contract is being signed at uh, the party table. As in Vietnam, we will love to like let's say go to the restaurant, eat good food and drink, and all of the important contract is being signed there. So the new guy, the driver, even though he just came to the company, but he has to ride the bus everywhere. And through that, he was able to be at the decision table. He was able to get to meet with every other big boss of other company, of every other partner. And thanks to that, starting out as just a driver, but he know how to build relationship. He was very respectful and he was very supportive of the boss. So he was able to climb up the corporate ladder very, very quickly. And that is the reason that sometimes you see that a person, it is not about what you know, it is all about who you know, the relationship that you have with others can bring you a lot more opportunity than the profession. And this is all around us if we can just make some observation, right? Even within company, the company was started out hiring from within, as in the people from within the company would refer potential candidate before the company uh, like open up a job position or a job description. So with the right relationship, you will be able to get a better job. And with the right notion of success, you can start it to cultivate. And the interesting thing about this is that, as you can see, throughout our life, we was told that we need to cultivate our profession. We need to be good at a field in order to be successful, but that only determine 20% of success. And even billionaire, even very, very successful people like Elon Musk, for example, or Jeff Bezos, they started to realize this. And often in their interview, they would say that they don't hire people based on the degree that they have. They hire people based on their character, based on their ability to work as a team player and the willingness to learn. Profession or expertise is easy to train, right? It is harder to find someone who can work well with other, who can work as a team, and who understand the element of success. But in our life, we don't get to learn that at the very beginning. And the experts tell us that success is 80% people development. People development and only 20% uh, profession. Another way for us to understand this in a simpler term is success is 80% of human being and only 20% of human doing. Because all of the field of study out there, they teach us about human doing, how to become uh, a coder, right? How to become a doctor, how to become a lawyer, how to be a professional in something, but it doesn't teach us about the human being part. But human being is what truly determine the success of people. And when I make an observation of temporary success people, even in the case of Salt Bae, the guy that like sprinkle salt in a lot of the meme that you see, he was so successful, he became like a social sensation, and he created so many like high-end restaurant steakhouse all around the world. But because he wasn't being careful of the way that he act, the way that he behave, and just for that split second, he lost his brand, and many of his stores started to close down. So people development, how we work on ourselves, determine greatly on our success. How we carry ourselves determine how we can maintain the success in our life, and understanding that to the triangle of reality. I want to introduce you to just another one more idea, then we open up for discussion. If we can look at a person lifetime, right? Let's start it out at birth. This is at birth. We we spent the first 20 years of our life to go to school, to complete like high school, and then we do another 4 year to get a bachelor degree. Some people pursue the master degree in and or some people get the degree in to be a lawyer, to be a doctor. That would take them another at least 6 years, and they ended up spending another 10 years. So at 30, that is when they fulfilling the very basic requirement of their profession, which only determine 20% of their success. And then they realize that just relying on their profession is not enough. It is also important to build the notion of success. They need to find the element of success, and they spend another 10 years to learn about the notion of success, right? To figure out what they need to do to start their own business, for example. And then they realize that just the notion of success is enough in order to be uh, to have the real reality of success. They need to have good relationship, because that will make their job easier, right? Instead of owning one store, for example, with the right relationship, they can open up multiple stores. They can have better quality of life. So at the age of 50, they slowly learn the importance of relationship and start building relationship. And that would take them at least another 60 years, another 10 years, and they don't get to learn that until they are 60. And I'm talking about the most, the best path possible for someone who following the system right now. right? They go into that 12 years of school up to get their high school degree, and then they go through their college and then higher education after graduation, and then start like working and all of that. So a normal path of a person that we see starting with the focus of profession, it would take them at least 60 years to fully get to the level of the success. And then they don't have much time, right? They don't have much time left to experience the things that are truly meaningful to them. For example, there are stories of doctors who work all their life just because they was taught that that is what they were supposed to do, just to find out later in life that their true passion is not being a doctor, but being a pilot. So they learn to fly and they get to fly all over the world and they live the best life because they found their dream job. There are lawyers who love to paint, it's like painting, but because they chose the path of a lawyer, so they didn't get to paint until they are retired, and many other similar story. So what if what if we can what if we are aware of this triangle of reality of success at the very young age? What if we know of what happiness is truly is and start working on people development, working on human being at the very beginning? And then we can cultivate whatever we need it for, whatever profession that we choose to get into, right? What if we can do just that? And this is exactly what I aspire to do. Right? What we want to do is from birth to the age of 20. Imagine if we have a program where we focus on the notion of success. We focus on cultivating the relationship that we need to be successful. And then as a 20, thanks to that, thanks to the 80% uh, people development, if we can just cultivate all of that from birth to the age of 20, we will have 80% chance of success. Yes. And then the rest would be figured out which profession that we want to get into, cultivate what needed, and by the age of 30, a person already fulfilled all three of this area, and they would live a very successful life. And I am super excited about this because recently I just complete the program MA in happiness studies, and I tell all of my close friend about this, and this is super important because from my observation in the past 20 years, happiness study is the very first field of study that focusing on human being, right? But at this time, it is only offered at a master level. I know there's a certificate program that people can take, but most people are not aware of it. It is still very new. It is only just the beginning. But imagine, all right, help me imagine that we can share the teaching of the field of happiness study at the kindergarten level and build it up to a high school level. Then it is very likely that we will be able to accomplish this, because developing the teaching of happiness, how to be happy, how to build a better relationship, how to be a better son, a better daughter, a better parent, and then learn about the true elements of successful people, right? Reading the teaching of Lao Tzu, the teaching of Buddha, the teaching of ancient Greek philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, and many, many other great thinkers. We can actually learn that. It is out there. We just don't get to learn that at a much younger age. So imagine if we can do that. And the fact is, people has been doing it. It's just not wisely known to the public. So Martha Collins is one of the very famous teacher in American society, especially when it comes to teaching. She was able to apply in this, right? She was able to help a student who is very challenged to teach, but she was able to help them understand the notion of success, help them building relationship and learn how to build relationship with others at the very young age. And they ended up become a lot more successful compared to other friends in their ethnic group. And they was able to find success because they was lucky enough to have a wonderful teacher to help them with the 80% human being, the people development. And this will definitely have a huge impact in the development of this world in the next 10 to 30 years. But back to the topic that we discussed today, which is the triangle of reality. And I know there's a lot more to the triangle of reality than this. But my hope is that we establish the very foundation of the triangle of reality. And using it, we can analyze the three elements of any other topic in our life. And this triangle, even though I write the word success in quotation mark, this is actually the representation of one of the 7 holistic wealth, which is called capability. Go ahead and write that. This is later will be learned as capability of a person. It will be determined by the notion of their capability, the relationship that they have, and their profession. And is will go into a much deeper, in a much more detailed information of how we can be informed of the information of someone's capability, the energy of that, the material of that, or namely what we know about someone's capability, what do we believe in it, and what is our understanding of it that will give us the reality of a successful person or a person with real capability. And of course, this is just one of the three references system. And the expert tell us that by applying the triangle of reality, we can formulate the principle, the definition of success or of reality in any field. And again, if lead can be turned into gold, if a very obese person can have that transformation to be a very healthy person, then any other reality is possible to to accomplish. Just like what my friends in Vietnam said, if other people can do it, then she can do it too. Right? The growth mindset. And by having that mindset, by gaining the understanding of the triangle of reality, we can choose to be successful. We can choose to be anything that we want it to be, as long as we know the information of it. We believe in the energy that gives out by it, and we understand the expression, the material of it. We can be happy. We will know the formula of how to be happy. We can have our uh, enlightenment moment, for example, by know the information about it, believing in the energy of it, and understanding the material of it. And that is what I would like to uh, present today on the triangle of reality by the understanding of the elements of success through the lens of the triangle of reality. And success is 80% about human being and not human doing. And reality show us that the age of success is getting younger and younger. It is not about how old you are. It is all about how well informed you are. It is all about your development, and knowing that, right? Any of us can be successful, especially in this day and age where information, energy, and material is widely available to everyone. To the story of Mr. Roger Bannister running the 4 mile, 4 minute, 3 mile under 4 minutes. He was able to do it, and many people after him was able to accomplish that, as I mentioned at the beginning of this journey. The story of Bill Gates, right? He became one of the richest person in the world at the very young age, and thanks to his reality, people who comes after him in the 90s, in the 2000s, they was able to accomplish the same thing, as in gaining the success at the very young age. They became billionaire. What one thought was impossible, make possible. And if Bill Gates can do it, then of course Elon Musk can do it. Jeff Bezos can do it. Mark Zuckerberg could do it. And they did it. And you know what? You could do it too. If that is the reality that you want, because the information is out there. You can feel the energy, and the material, the reality of that success is out there. It is simple to copy. It's simple to follow the steps, and was just like my friend Jack. Simple to make that transformation to be a very healthy person in that such short amount of time. And of course, we can dive in deeper in today's discussion for the future discussion. But with that, I would like to open up to a Q&A, to interaction. Feel free to share with me what you think about this topic. How we can develop more from this idea, and or just uh, your question or anything related to today's topic. And I see that in our participant list. I also see my friend Giovanni. Thank you for going on this journey with us. If it is allowed, I would love to hear your thought as well, because this journey is very much about sharing what I know with you, and I would love to hear your insight as well, if that is allowed. And I can also see Joseph, Liana T. Hi, Joseph or Liana. Thank you.
Hey, Ben,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, just making sure. I don't know what's going on. I just try to hit my camera. It's not working. It's one thing or the other. All right, so I actually like this topic here. And there's so much to go into. If you go to the second triangle that you made with the success, this one was kind of big for me, because when you put notion, which notion is basically like an idea. You said growth mindset, but notion means you made your idea of something. So I would say that, I mean, all the successful people that we've known, that we've heard of and read about, in the master's degree program, have all one thing in common. They all made up their mind at one point to push their limits just a little bit further. So I would say, what if notion determined 100% of your success? How would that split into your relationship and your profession without, without losing 100% of what you have in your mind? Instead of capability for success, I would just change that maybe for myself and just put potential, because an idea is like a seed. And once you plant that seed and you water it and you nurture it and you give it the right light, you give it the right nutrients, it's going to grow into something beautiful. And that's the way I see success. So if you just put potential on there, now we're dealing with energy. I know a lot of people think of success and they automatically think of having a lot of money. But money is just another way for us to exchange energy. It's an energy exchange. What we put into it is what we get out of it, which also goes with our relationships. The energy we put into our relationships is the energy we're going to get out. And then ultimately, it's all about the energy exchange with the profession as well. And I like what you said about how 80% is people development, which is basically us being who we're meant to be, to learn as much as we can early on so that we can live a longer, more fruitful life in our later years. I feel like right now, especially in the US, a lot of us are slaves to our jobs until 60 to 70 years old, and that number keeps going up, which means we only have maybe a good 20 or 30 years to live if we're lucky, the way we want to. Yeah, that'll bring us up to 100, unless we're in Okinawa. A lot of us probably aren't going to see 100 years old. But right now I'm at the 40-year-old stage. I mean, I'm 40, I'll be 41 next month, so this has me thinking a lot. And I think you're right. Had I known this information when I was in my 20s, what would I do with that information? having a 20-year-old mindset. But then again, if I had this information growing up and everybody around me was doing it, I'd have the same mindset now, but at 20 years old, and I'd be able to do a lot more with it. So I kind of like the idea of introducing this to children, to make this part of everyone's culture, starting with the young kids who are the future of this world. We're going to, reverse all the harm we've done to our planets and to our bodies and stuff. And I did like also what you said about our choice, that in every moment, we have the power. Our only power is the power to choose for ourselves, to choose better. And that's definitely meaningful, because without choice, we wouldn't have the things we want in life. And we're all searching for happiness, which is why everybody works, which is why we go into relationships. We try to find happiness, but choice helps us find it more authentically, and it starts within ourselves. And like you put information in that triangle of reality, that to me, that's the philosophy portion of the triangle. And information comes from within. It's this inner knowing that we have. The way that we formulate our concepts gives us the information that we need. So you change your concepts, your inner information, and you automatically start to change your outside reality, which includes the material. That's how you can change lead into gold, with our ideas and in our concepts of how we improve the planet, in our communities. So I think this is very important, and I know that we can go a lot deeper into it, but I think it's a good introduction, because ultimately the power is in our hands. We just need to know how to use it and when to use it.
It's beautiful. And I love it when you share, and in this journey. It is a journey of me hearing your idea as well, and I'm sure many of our friends here in our Zoom also here to listen what you have to say, because you do give that Western perspective, and it's helped us understand better how people from the Western world feel. And the concept that you mentioned is so important. There's so many things that I can start talking about. And it was very impressive that you mentioned the notion of success, or the potential of it, to you is 100% of what determines success to be. So in the reality of triangle, we don't say that information is determined 40% of reality, right? Information is different from the element of success. But what we learn is that information, just like what you said, determine 100% of your reality, right? If we can think of the analysis of a seed, let's say if you have like a seed of a mango tree, to the right condition, to the right energy, to the right climate relation, that tree could land into a very rich soil, and it will blossom, it will grow into a very big and healthy mango tree, and it's going to produce juicy and sweet mango fruits. So the seed, the information, is what needed to grow into that beautiful tree. Success is similar, right? If we analyze it under the notion of success, then yes, it's determined 100% of the success. Similarly, relationship could determine 100% of a person's success. Let's look at the job example. You might not be good at that job at first, but with the right connection, the right person can give you that job. So relationship can also determine 100% of the successful. So everyone case is different. And there are people who work really hard in their profession, and that determine 100% of their success. But just for the very foundation information in the triangle of reality is something I hold dear to my heart, right?
Mm.
Because of the expression, knowledge is power. What you know will shape your reality. And just like what you shared earlier, you are in your 40 now. And if we were to imagine what you know now, if you were in your 20 and you know everything that you know now, how different your life experience will be. And you was able to connect that to the idea of what if I can share this information with the next generation? What if they can gain all of this knowledge at a much younger age? How much they can contribute to this world? How they can help heal this world? And this is the true meaning of this journey, right? Because I'm only act as a reminder, referring back to the human structure, right?
Mm.
We have lived many, many lives according to the human structure. We already have our total karmic of knowledge, affinity, and result. Or as Plato put it best, we are not learning anything new. We only relearning what we have already know. So understanding that any of us have choices to gain this realization of success or any other information.
Yeah.
And we can help the younger generation gain this knowledge as well. And this is a journey.
Hey Ben, can you do me a favor? Can you go back to the reality triangle?
Yes, of course.
So I just want to make a point that the only fixed points that I see on here would be the energy, information, and material. Those are fixed, but the believing, knowing, understanding, philosophy, science, spiritual, those alternate. Those can turn, around, kind of like, if you would, like a circle. So if we were to take information and we would try to understand that information in a way that makes sense to our mind, then that'd be a triangle going from information to understanding and to philosophy, right?
Mhm.
Or we can take the material, and then in order to know the material, we have to use science to do it. So that'd be another triangle there. So this is just filled with a lot of moving parts that make sense for us to really get an idea of reality that makes sense individually, because it's not going to make, what's good for me is not good for you, and it's not good for the next person. Part of it maybe, but not the whole calculation, because I'm built differently. We have, different, um, we have, I would say, a different calling, and that's the other thing, is that instead of profession, what if we change that to a calling, um, under the other triangle? So if you go to the success triangle, and instead of profession, you change that into a calling, then that makes it a little bit more spiritual in a sense. Because I think people really don't want a profession. They want to do something that they love, and they want to do something they feel they were called to do. And I think that's the whole point of reaching our fullest potential, not just having a job just for the name, but having a calling that's making a difference in our lives and in the world as well.
Beautiful. And you are absolutely right between the relationship of information knowing and philosophy, energy believing in spirituality, material understanding science. Then there are many, many other triangle of reality that we eventually will introduce into this journey. So, and you are exactly right. We have the big triangle of reality as a representation of it, but within it, we will have many, many other triangle that help us live a fulfilling life. And we will definitely explore that more in the future. And of course, just like what you said, there is a circle, a cycle. There's a relationship between all three of this. And this is why I love talking to you, because you somehow you are able to connect the dots, because there's a relationship between all of this. This is the beauty of our world. There's a constant evolving of information, energy, and material. And let's see the reference of the mango seed, right?
Yep.
Because the seed will grow in under the right condition. The seed will grow into the tree. It will blossom. It will produce many, many of the mango fruit. And within that mango fruit, we have many, many mango seeds. And the circle of life continue, or the cycle of life continue, or the philosophy question that we I believe we all have heard, like chicken and the egg, right? Did the chicken come first, or did the egg come first? So it's not about which comes first. It is about where you are at, right? It is about where you are at in this cycle. What we are here to learn. What can we do to fulfill our understanding, our journey as human being, how we can get to the summit of happiness. So if we were to just look at success or potential or capability as a journey through life, right? We have many, many choices. We have many, many lessons. And it is depend on our total comment. We will know where we are. Some people start at their profession, and thanks to their profession, right? Let's say if I were to decide to be a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor. I spent 30 years learning about the profession, and then I go out there, I go work at a hospital, and then I learn about the notion of success of being a doctor. And then I gained relationship in that field, and then I became a much better doctor. I can become the top of the doctor of the world, for example. So this cycle continue, and you might think of this as the the spiral of knowledge, right? That each time you go into a cycle, each time we go into what we know, we gain a much better understanding of it. This is a very, very powerful principle, because it doesn't just apply to being a doctor. Any other field you can apply. And the circle of knowledge, if you can apply it to the ideas of us having lived many, many lifetimes, So each lifetime is a new experience, a new lesson. And by going through this cycle, we gain a better understanding of the meaning of life, what we are here to do, what we need to do in this lifetime so that we can be better for the next cycle. And you can see the relationship between the human structure, the triangle of reality, and the root cause of life, because the combination of these three can get us to the root, to the bread and butter, right? To the meat of the human experience. And it is very powerful what you pointed out, to the transformation, to the potential of all of this. And just glad that you said it, and not me. And through your word, I understand it better as well. And this is the value of these cards. You know, we get together, we have our discussion, and idea will come. And if we were to use the reference of the human structure, then deep within you, you already have that total karma. You have already had this knowledge before. You have learned this in the past. So when we introduce this knowledge again today, it's easy for you to pick up. It's easy for you to understand, and you can project the understanding of it effortlessly. And this is absolutely beautiful, because obviously I have not shared with this I have not shared this with you in the past, and somehow you was able to point it out that there's not one triangle. Yeah, I think there are many, and there's a relationship between all of this. But what I introduce here is the very basic, the very foundation of it.
I just want to say, can I add one more thing?
Yes.
Ben, if you just go back to the bubble diagram. So since you pointed out relationship, right? The whole point is to go through you know, the 84,000 bubbles of illusion, right? And the only way we're going to do that is there has to be a relationship between our mind and our heart. Once those two are in sync and they have coherence, then we're able to use that power of our mind and our heart to really think about what it is that we want in our future, as if it already happened already. And we're just being grateful to have had that experience, because I've used that to manifest things in my life. And I know that people, when you really understand the power, there you go, the power of the heart and mind, and then you add emotions to that. And then from your heart and mind and emotions, then your body has to respond. Then your reality has to respond to that, because everything that we see was first developed in someone's mind. I mean, literally, I mean, from the computer screen, you know, to the cell phones, to just a pen on your table, the highlighter, that idea came from someone's mind first. Right?
Yep.
So this world, our reality, is first made in our mind. And once we use our true power, which is our choice to choose from the heart, not choose from our emotions, or choose because of the body with pleasures, or choose because something, you know, just seems good in our mind, but choosing from the heart center first. That's how you create true power in your reality. And a lot of us see this right here. It looks like a target practice. You know, if I was throwing darts, a lot of us miss that center. we try to aim for it, but we're hitting outside of it. And the whole purpose is to always stay on target and use your heart for everything. You will not go wrong by choosing with what your heart wants.
Yes, yes, and yes, because yes, it is all about connecting the heart, the mind, our emotion, and our body. I can put it simple, connecting the spirit, the mind, and the body, finding the very essence of the root cause of life. And just like you say, information, energy determine greatly about reality, and material in and of itself can help us connect our body, mind, and spirit, or heart, mind, body, and emotion. And the essence of the triangle of reality, if we can just focus on two triangle of reality, that will be information, energy, material, and knowing, believing, understanding, and last but not least, it is all about the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know, surrounded by radiant harmony. And to recall this from our previous presentation, because it is so important, I would like to mention this before we go. This is all about finding your heart, finding your spirit. As I highlighted this, you can see the will start to appearing, the radiant aura started to appearing more. And this is the very core of it. It's something you mentioned earlier, Giovanni. That is the information, the essence of uh, success, as in the notion of success. And the center here is also the genuine truth, right? In the information and the philosophy, it is the genuine truth. In the perspective of science, is the information that doesn't change over space time. And all of this are interconnected. And I think today is a very successful session because I feel like you are able to connect all three of the reference system together. And I do want to keep this presentation within 90 minutes. I know everyone have their schedule. So I would like to end today's presentation here. And of course, we will have many more discussion in the future. Feel free to bring up questions related to the three reference system. And with that, I would like to say thank you. And before we go, I would like to play a song as usual. And thank you so much for joining us. I will see everyone next week. Thank you, Giovanni. Appreciate you.